Okay, let's get started. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you guys were able to see. Um, hey Vaishnavi, good morning. How are you doing?
Ramesh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Okay, now, so yeah, what we discussed yesterday is more about your entity class annotations, your all the annotations, right? So we were trying to more focus on writing the application. So far we have learned in the last week more about our OOPS concepts, your collections and your decision making statements, your control statements. The only major thing pending is your multi-threading, and we were also have to implement comparable comparator interfaces along with the multi-threading. There is only two things pending. Apart from that, I don't see any other pending things in your core Java concepts. Moving on to your framework related things, we also discussed about exceptions, your custom exceptions, your runtime, compile time. Those things also we were discussed. I hope everybody is going in a background more about how they work and what are the concepts. You have to go through that and you have to work on that too. Okay, keeping that aside, coming on here, yesterday we discussed more about the Spring Boot application and Spring MVC, how your Spring Boot application work, how your Spring MVC application work, how you can communicate data between controller to service, how you can create an object, what are the different annotations. So why we require Spring Boot application, developing only for your REST apps, data migration, data might be used only in your JSON or XML formats, and all the communications happen via annotations in the REST communication. And we also know that your Spring Boot is having built-in database as an H2, and it also have an built-in Tomcat server. That's a web application server, and it is used for synchronization communication and asynchronization communication. Synchronization is possible via multi-thread. I mean, synchronization is possible via, yeah, multi-threading. That's right. And asynchronization communication can be used via queues. It might be ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ, JMS, or Kafka. Those are the queue streams. The communication will be happening in an asynchronous way on that. And what all the okay, so what all the different packages we require to develop any of an application to process a simple CURD process? What are the different packages we require? Shashank, Venkat, Shashank Gaud, Vaishnavi. What are the different packages we require? Are you guys following me? It's a question for you guys. What are the different packages we require to create a simple CURD application? Consider you have a Spring Boot app. Are you guys able to follow my question? Are you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so have you guys got my question? What are the different packages required to create a simple CURD application? Okay, so to create any of your application, most of the time we would require your model is the first one we would require. So model is a package, it contains all the information associated to the user. And the next one, once you have your model, the controller is another application package, which is required to have your controller to communicate data from browser HTTP, where we are processing REST controller. And once you have your controller and model, the next one is your service layer. In service, you will be having in the business logic. So you are going to define an abstract method in your interface where you have your CURD process writing in your user service, and it has an implementation user service IMPL where it will have it. So you are processing add, update, get, delete, and get all users. Where your user service IMPL has to have all the implementation methods. User service IMPL. I don't know. I have two user service IMPLs. I don't know why those two got created. Okay, someone from someone's branch, I guess. What is the same user service IMP? Oh, this is IMP. Someone created IMP. Let me delete this so I won't get confused. IMPL, and we have all the information in here, whatever the processing happening. And once you have all the data in your user service, then the next one from here, from user service, the data is going to flow into your repository. So in your repository, you will be having user repository. So these are the four common packages we were using. And the other thing, based on your application, you are creating exception package and util package. In util, you are going to add all your constants, and your an exception, you are going to use custom exceptions like user not found exception, invalid user, invalid transaction based on your entities, invalid billing address, invalid inventory, notifications, all those informations are going to be added. Add UPS customer support. Okay, someone created a customer support, two customer support packages. I don't know why they created two. Who is working on customer support? Who is working on customer support package? Oh, where is that? User service, user application, customer. Veronica, you're working on user customer support, right? I was asking for you. Why are you not
Yeah,
getting reply?
I'm yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, I
This
am
is
I
your component, right? Why are you thinking
yeah,
of?
customer support is my yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just asking who's belongs to customer component. So
Yeah,
I
I
see
am.
two of the classes. I don't know what is the difference in between two of the classes. Try to verify this, okay?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
thank
yeah, customer support. Okay, so we discussed more about the packages. Now we are considering more about having your application kind of a Spring Boot app. So we discussed yesterday what all the packages required in your model, what are the packages required in your repositories and your service and your controller, right? Am I right? Did we discuss that yesterday? In model, I said you require at the rate entity, at the rate table, at the rate ID is your primary key. Generated value is based on your sequence. And for a Lambok libraries, you need a getter, setter, constructor, and all arguments. So these are the simple six annotations required in where? In your entity class, right? In controller, it requires at the rate rest controller, put mapping, post mapping, get mapping, delete mapping. These are the four operations you are processing, and request body, response body, path param, path variable. These are another four annotations. So total is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Consider around 10 annotations were used in a controller for basic application development, like not complete end to end in detail. For basic setup, those are the good enough things. And in service, we are using only one annotation at the rate service, and in repository, you are using only one annotation at the rate repository. So anything complex apart from these annotations? Do you have any complexities here? Have you gone through the concept? What are those annotations? How those are working? Have you gone through in general? Venkat, Shashanka, or Vaishnavi, Veronica. Have you guys gone through annotations? Have you guys gone through Spring
Ye-
MVC and Spring Boot application? Or else have you guys gone through Spring Boot application and how it works?
Not yet, Ramesh. Will do it.
Okay. What is the assignment you guys have done yesterday? Nothing?
Yesterday we did nothing. Yesterday we did not.
Okay. Yeah, try to go through your Spring Boot application and try to go through all these annotations.
We'll do it today.
Yeah. Thanks, Shashank. Okay, and as I said yesterday, to have this done, we need to add a few libraries. One is your Lambok library, Spring Data JPS, Spring Boot Parent, Spring Web, and the other one we need to connect to our H2 database. We require H2 library too. Okay, now let us add everything today and try to save the data into H2 database. Let's see. So let's see whether H2 database is already there. H2 is already there. So we are good. We have web, H2, you have Lambok, you have string, everything is there in here. So no need to add any libraries. So let's see what all the entities we added. So we added what all the things we added. So we added all the annotations here: entity, table, getter, setter, ID, primary, constructor, everything. This is also good. And in a controller level, we added at the REST controller request mapping and get, put, post mapping. All those things we added. Okay, get mapping, put mapping, post mapping, annotations. There is something we have to resolve the issue here. Before resolving the issue, let's see all the annotations are added. In user service, we don't have anything. In user service IMPL, we are going to add at the rate service annotation here on top of, so that it will create a bean at the rate service that is coming from ORG Spring Framework stereotype. So those all are stereotype annotations. If someone asks what are the stereotype annotations, at the rate service, at the rate REST controller, at the rate repository, at the rate entity, those all are stereotype annotations. Okay, and the other one we have to check is a repository. So repository, we need to see user repository. Does it have? No, it doesn't have an annotation called a repository. So now we need to have a repository that is also from stereotype. And I want to, what this interface will do, interface is going to extends JPA repository, right? What does extends mean? What does extends will do? What does extends will do? What does extends do? And this is asking for type and an ID. Type is your user. User is a type and ID is the primary key in user. So now this user is, what extends does? What do you mean by extend?
Inherits.
Inherit
Like
the
inherit
properties.
one, it allows one class to take the variables and the methods from the class.
That's correct, Venkat. So it will allows the inheritance basically. Okay, now we what we are inheriting in the repository, we are inheriting JPA repository, right? Am I right, guys? What JPA repository is doing? JPA repository is a repository which will make connection establishment to your database, right? So if I go in JPA repository, it will say, so this will processing what operations? List of CRUD operations. CRUD is like your create, update, delete, read. Those are the things, right? If you see flush, save and flush, delete in batch, delete, we have all the methods in here. Delete method, get by ID method, get reference by ID, find all method, find all method. So you have list of methods in here, right? Those methods we are trying to inherit in our user repository. Now we have user repository, we have this repository, this is good. And this repository I want to call in my user service. How I can call a class in another class with an annotation? What is that we discussed? What is the annotation we use to create an object from the class to class? I want to call this user repository annotation in here. What can I do now? What annotation we use? At the rate AutoWire, right? This is what we discussed yesterday. AutoWire is to create an object and that will create from class to class data members, right? Am I right, guys? Guys, speak up.
Yeah, Ramesh.
What's stopping you to speak up? Is something stopping, guys? Then speak up. Okay, so user repository is what we need to get. So creating an object, AutoWire, using AutoWire annotation, user repository. Okay. So we can do a reference name. So this is a reference name. You can use any of the reference name, but this one has to be your class, class or interface name, whatever it is. And this has to be your repository name. The reference name, sorry. So once you get that repository name, you have to save your data. Now you are adding your data, right? So in add user method, are we adding any of the data? We are not adding any of the data. We are trying to process and get the data. Now here user repository dot, we have a method called, what method is this? Save method. This is a predefined method coming from CRUD repository. How it is getting from CRUD repository? Because in JPA repository, user repository, we extended JPA repository. JPA repository is inheriting list of CRUD operation entities, right? So that is where we are getting this save method. Now we are using this save method. You have to pass, what do you pass here? To save object. You have to pass entity. What is the user? This user. Whatever the user comes in here, that user has to be passed here. Okay. Now user is been saving. Update method. So here also, while you are processing update, you have to save. You have to save the data. This is a void. These are not found exception. At last, come here. User repository dot. For save and update, both we use save method. So what save method does is, if you don't have an object, it will create. If there is an object, it will update. Got it? For save, for creating a new object, for updating an object, only one method we are using, that is a save method. What does save method does in your JPA repository is, if there is no database record exist in your repository, then it will create new one. If there is already database record exist in your repository, then the save method will go and fetch and it will update it. Does it make sense? Does it make sense, guys? Now another method we have is a get method. Get method, we need to get the data from the repository. So we are returning null here. So returning user. So user repository dot get user is what we have to do. Let us see here. User repository is an interface dot get, we use find by ID. Okay, we need to get single object, find by ID. Okay, so here we have to pass. Okay, role is what we are getting. Now user values is what we are getting. U dot, do we have? This is the entire user. That user reference is not coming here. Dot get user ID. Or else let's do this. Pass a return statement here, find by ID, U dot get user ID. What does it do? Change the method return type to optional. Optional is going to verify not null, or else what I will do is dot get. What is the problem? Find by ID user dot get user by ID, right? So user service, we are getting the data by ID. What is the problem in here then? What is our return type here? Our return type for this method is user object. Okay. So you are getting a user object, then repository dot find by ID or else toss a null. Yep. So here it is null. So this is good. So null is not handled. That is where it is giving us a problem. Now we are handling null also. Okay, delete user ID. So for delete, we are not reading any data. So let's read string, not string. User ID is, what is a user ID data type? What is a user ID data type? What is a user ID data type?
Int
Long.
long.
Yeah. So all our primary keys are long data types, right? Am I right, guys? User repository is what I need to call. User repository dot delete by ID is what you need to call. These all are existing methods I am calling. So if you see delete by ID is what I am trying to call. Delete by ID, you have to pass this user ID. Okay, there is no return type. It's just a void method. Okay, user repository dot delete by user ID. If user dot list is empty, no user to delete. Okay, if it is not empty, then only process that, right? Here. Okay. Now get all users. Get is what we are trying to do. Get all users, list of users. So return user list. Let us try to get all the information. Instead of this return, let us try to get from user repository. A return user repository dot find all. Find all will, what is the return type for this find all method? What do you guys see here? What is the return type for this find all method? What is the return type for this find all method here? We are seeing. What is the return type for get all users method we are written here at line number 187? What is the return type for this method? List of users, right? Am I right? This is a return type, right? What is the return type for delete user method? What is the return type for delete user method?
User repository.
Oh, sorry, what was that, Veronica? What is the return type for this delete user method?
Void.
That's right. Why are you guys thinking on it? Void is the return type. So what is the return type for this get all users? List of users, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to get a list of users from user repository. So what is the return type here in find all? List of users, right? Am I right, guys? That is what it showed. So that is where you are getting a list of users from a repository directly. Okay. And now service dot delete user. Okay, we made it to add a different one, right? So let's keep it as, let's comment it. Okay, we made all the changes in user service. We added AutoWire and all those things. Now it's time to add. I want to get an object here. So how I can get an object here? Now let's keep this method also. I'll comment this. Let's keep it there, but let's comment it. So I want to read I want to create an object of user service IMPL. How I can create an object of user service IMPL here? How I can create an object of user service IMPL here, guys? How I can create an object of user service IMPL here? Can you guys tell me? Creating an object of user service IMPL here. How do you create that? Using AutoWire. That's what I told you guys, right? Am I right? User service IMPL is what I am trying to create an object for. Okay. User service IMPL. Okay. Now, user service IMPL is what I need to call all the places. Now I'm getting a user object here as a request body. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to send that request body to user service IMPL. Have a method called create user, right? Do we have a method add user, right? Am I right? Do we have a method in there? Add user. Call that method and send the data. Okay, we are sending there now. Update user. Now let's call user service IMPL dot. Do we have update user method? Yes, we do. Updating what? Send the user information. Okay, we are sending from controller to repository. Sorry, service IMPL. Now here get user. So as this as a user as a return type, now we have to return user repository user service IMPL dot get user. Okay. User cannot be resolved to a variable. Change to user service IMPL or else create a local variable. What does it mean? User service has a role, right? Get user string role. Oh, user service IMPL. What is the get method here? Let us see. This is update user method. In get user, what are we returning? You are getting a role and okay, you are returning entire user object. But what is the problem here? User service IMPL dot. Oh, this is not returning user object. Is it not returning user object? It has to return user object, right? I think so. This is not, but return null also, it should return a data. What is the error here? We have the heck. Get mapping, get user of a role. We are sending that as a path variable, get user. Now we need to add a return statement. Okay. What will happen if I put a null as a return? Null, no error. Now let me call user service IMPL. Okay, dot get user. Interesting. Some catch issue. Okay, now delete user, right? Now user service IMPL dot delete user. Sending what are you passing to this method? What are you passing to delete user ID method? Sorry, delete user method. What are you passing? What are you passing to the method? What are you passing to the method, guys?
Get all users.
What are you passing to this method? What are you passing to delete user method?
User ID.
That's correct. That's correct. Why are you guys thinking too much? I don't know. User service IMPL dot get all users. What is the return type for this get all users? Vaishnavi, what is the return type for this get all users? Vaishnavi? Veronica?
What?
For return type for this get all users. I think so you're wrong, Veronica. Can you rethink on that?
Okay.
List of users. List
List
of
of
all.
users. That's right. So do you
Fine.
see list of users here as a return type?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a return type. Okay.
Right.
Get all users. What is the problem? Add a return statement or change a void. List of users, get all users. Let us see. List of users, get all users. This is a public. This is good. User service IMPL. Get all users. We are returning list of users. What is the problem then? Why our controller says add return statement or change return type to void? Public list of users. I don't know. Weird behavior. Let me rewrite. That doesn't make sense rewriting. Or it's asking change the return type to void, right? Add return statement. Let's do this. User service, we have this method. Let us get same method in controller. And instead of abstract method, let us make this as this. And add a return statement. A return statement user service impl dot get all users. Duplicate method name. Let's comment this. See, I don't know. Sometimes messing up things. Nothing is wrong in here and there, right? Do you see any difference here in naming conventions or something? Okay, that's okay. Let's ignore. Anyways, so now application is completely built. So no errors in our applications. If you see our application, is there any errors in any of the package? No, right? Everything is good. Now what we need to do? So our packages are done, our controllers are done, our annotations are done. No, everything is there now. Now you have to add your H2 library. To add H2 library, what do? Where do you add H2 library is, so any changes related to properties, you go in, add into your application.properties. So what are the properties for H2 properties? So you have to remember, but remembering is hard. So what we will do is, let's come in here. What I ask is like Spring Boot H2 properties. Okay, Spring Boot H2 properties. So let's see what all the H2 properties. These are all the H2 properties. But that's too hard for me to get all those. Let me do something like this. Spring dot, where is H2 console? He is not enabled H2 console. I also want to get H2 console. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. H2 console and the data source. Okay, let's go in here. So let's validate. So we have an H2 console, that's right. /H2 is what we are saying, okay. And your JDBC data source URL. So these are H2 properties. Spring dot H2 dot console dot enable is what we are enabling true. That means in your application you are enabling H2 database. Another one, what are you saying here? Spring dot H2 dot console dot path. You are saying the path has /H2. If you want to access H2 database, your application followed by /H2. Okay. And data source URL. What is the data source URL you are getting here? Spring data source URL JDBC_H2, and you are saying the file as Spring H2. This is their own thing. Ours is UPS database, right? So we would say it as UPS DB. Okay. Now username is SA, password is empty. That is a unique universal things. So we don't need to add anything. Driver class name. We are using org_h2 driver. Okay. DDL auto is what it is saying update. So initially we don't have anything. Let's use create first. Then we will do an update. Let's try to start the application and see what we get as the properties or anything as an error. Let us see. Org UPS application, right click, run on server. So the application server has to start automatically in 8080. Okay, if you see, there is a problem. Let's see here. What is the problem it is saying? Unable to obtain an isolated JDBC connection, file path. So, okay. The properties, if you see jdbc.h2.file upsdb, you don't have that file, but you specified that file is what it is saying. So instead of file path, let me use a different property here. Let's see, MEM is like use internal memories. So I'm saying my application to use internal memory. Let me rerun it again. Rerun UPS application. Still an error. Let's see what is an error now. Now the error is different error. So error creating bean with your entity defined could not be determined your JDBC org. What is this? It says org UPS util test. So there is something wrong in test. Could not be determined your test package. I got it. So it says make this also as an entity. I'm suspecting there is a problem. And if I make it as an entity, I have to, or else I make this as an at the rate component annotation so that it will make it as an empty class. So it says only test, right? Let's see. And with this is in util. And what is the error? It says entity factor bean. Okay. So are you guys able to follow me how I am troubleshooting the errors? So yeah, when you run your application, you have to go all the way up and see where the error is starting. So the error is starting here. So unable to start application. Okay, what is the error here? Entity manager factory. Okay, go all the way last to the line. It says the error could not be determined your test package. So I made it as a component. Let's see. So we haven't added any annotation here. That is a problem. Now I'm suspecting for your exceptions also it will throw an error now. But let's see. Let me try to run the application. Okay, same error. Hmm. What is there in test? Errors exist. Oh, somewhere we are calling test cancel. That is a problem. Okay. Oops. Let's see. Do we get an error now? Still error. In where? Oh my goodness. I'm suspecting because of those main methods. But let's see. I'm 100% sure because of the main method is what it is creating a mess up. Now in where? In test again? What is there in test class? What are we doing here? Public static void main string. Okay. Are we used in any other classes main method? Let's see. I think so here also we have one main method, right? Yeah, when you goes to your application, you should not maintain any of your main methods. So main method is only single method that is part of your parent class. So you at the rate Spring Boot application is your parent class. So these need to have your main method. That's it. Apart from this, you should not maintain any other main methods. So you have to create object and call those methods. Earlier we just practiced. Now we are moving to entire architecture. I mean framework level. Error creating bean in where? What the heck is happening? Why it is trying to create a bean? Something is wrong in again here. Oh, if you see, this is what the problem. In user, we are extending test, but you haven't mentioned anything as an entity for a test. That is a problem, and you are creating an aggregation here. So your test has to be there as is. Make it as entity. Okay. And if you make it as an entity, you have to maintain an ID. Long ID at the rate ID. Okay, let's see. And are we extending any other classes here? We are implementing comparator. That's okay. Still error. If there is a test class, oh my goodness. Okay, this is good now. So what is the error now? It says there is a problem in your user. So it says user is a subclass in a single table hierarchy or may not be annotated at the rate table to the root class. At the rate entity at the rate table for your root class. And this is test table. Bean creation error. Let us see something is wrong. Error creating your bean. Ignore about the question. Let's go and check in your solution. If you are using ID annotation from the rank package, ID has to be from persistence. That's right. We are using that from the persistence package only, right? ID is from Jakarta persistence. And ID here is coming from which? Jakarta persistence. Then ID is not a problem, right? Both the IDs are coming from which package? Same package, right? Is there any other thing here? No. Entity table ID is your primary long. That is not an issue then. Okay, entity user is a subclass in a single table. That is, oh, in a single table, it's a subclass. Okay. For single table, we are trying to have a multiple primary keys. I suspect that is a problem. What I can do? Where is my class? Entity. I'm extending test and I'm creating aggregation. Let's do this. Instead of extends, I was using aggregations. Let's try to see. Could not determine recommended JDBC type of your test. What is the problem with the architecture? Entity table test is a separate class. I have a primary key in the test. Okay, we are using test here. I was using getter and setter method for test. That's it. I also have toString. So in your JPA repository, could not determine recommended JDBC type for your test. What is there in here and what is not there in here? Entity table is what is good enough. Getter setters, those all are not required right now. At the rate test entity. Entity is coming from your Jakarta. That's right. Table is also coming from your Jakarta. ID is also coming from your Jakarta. What makes error? Jakarta persistence optional. The name of the table. Default string. That's okay. Hmm. What if I comment it and see? Let's see. But I have to comment most of the things. And there is this one also, right? Yeah. Tomcat started on 8080 port, but Tomcat is started, there is some error. What is the error? Okay, it is trying to create your DLLs. So if you see drop table, okay, drop table if exist user, okay, it is dropping a table. Why? Because we made it as a create. Okay, now it is saying error creating DLL create user my object XYZ. So it is using role name, role, all those. So it is creating user. Or it is getting error while creating syntax error. Syntax error in SQL statement. What is the error? Create table, object name, integer, big int. Or something is wrong in our user class. User string, local date time, a boolean. User. I'm suspecting the issue is with local date time, but that shouldn't be an issue. What we have, add user method. Oh, so still problem. There is an error. If you see what exactly error it's saying now, it is saying there is a problem creating your table. My object of date, phone number of type integer. Why we are getting my object? For date, we defined my object. What is the name for the date? Okay, it's my object. Syntax error. Create table. Hmm. Remove or comment the following line in code. It should work. Org Hibernate dialect H2 dialect. Spring JPA database platform. Are we mentioned that property in our application.properties? No, we haven't mentioned that, right? Do we have Spring Data JPA database platform? Bring data JP. No, we don't have that. Then that is not related to us. Are you guys getting how I am trying to troubleshoot the issues? I'm trying to troubleshoot the issues so that you will learn it. Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah, Ramesh.
So make sure your Hibernate dialect properties are correct. Database unclosed exists. We are not using. What is okay? We are not added this. Fix the dialect. Is that really required? I don't think so. Org Hibernate dialect H2 dialect. That is not an issue. Okay, I'll try to figure out, but I'll try to commit this code right now so that it will be easier for you guys to work on the assignment. Yeah, I will try to commit. So, but you have what you have to work on your side is try to make sure your application is not having any issues and try to run. Let's see. That is your assignment. So you add annotations, you add all the annotations on your entity controller, all those things, and try to run your application. If you get an errors also, that is okay. We will try to resolve that errors. But if there is no errors in your repository, let's see what all the errors you get and how you are going to resolve that errors. Does it make sense? I will try to resolve this error, but not
Yeah,
today.
Ramesh.
I will try to figure it out what exactly going on tomorrow in front of you. I'll try to resolve this error. Okay? Does it
Yeah,
make sense,
okay.
guys?
Yeah, okay, Ramesh.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have a happy Tuesday.
Thank you,
you.
you too.